If you have any relationship in your life with significant other, with your kids, with your neighbors, parents, and all that jazz, you probably have few people that you think to yourself, I just cannot communicate to them. No matter what I do, nothing works. They're not listening to me. I can't. If you answered yes, you're in the right spot. My name is Lolita Guarin, and I'm a stress management expert. And welcome to my podcast from Stress to Success Blueprint. It's February 15th, and it's right after Valentine's Day. And as I promised before, I will be talking for the rest of February and maybe beyond, depends, would you like it or not, about relationships and stress management. Well, that has to do with other people, because as you know, we are animals that love herds. We need to be in a group, right? So, relationships. So, if you have a poor communication with someone, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming back and listening in. It really means a lot to me. And if you're a first time visitor, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you will like the video and I hope you will subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. Okay, so number one thing is just to start practicing active listening. You're like, what? Basically, you're focusing on understanding and not just responding. Um, Hear me out. And I know it can be triggering. It's like I already did everything. Those people are impossible to communicate with. You see what's happening here. If you are trying to communicate to someone and it looks like it's the same pattern and they're just not listening to you and you have this conflict situation over and over and over and over, um, you also trigger something in them. It goes both ways. It takes two to tango, so to speak. So don't expect that other person is capable of keeping that conversation. A lot of people are afraid of a difficult conversations, even a conversation that has to do anything where you maybe not a little bit not happy, because it could be very triggering for them. Maybe it reminds them a situation when they were in a conflict with a loved one or with the authority figure in their childhood. So they naturally bring the same pattern into the adult life. So start with the empathy. They probably don't even know what to do. So having that empathy and then remembering that you need to, active listen to them too, it will be reciprocal. So when you show with example, maybe it will be followed. And if you like, that's no, that's fine. If you try that, it didn't work, you can do a second fix, what they call it. Instead of saying, you didn't do this, you did this, start with the statement, I. Express your own feelings that starts without blaming, with a lower voice, and from the place of imagine you just confining to a good friend, not to the one that's actually not communicating to you. And you just can say, whatever you did yesterday, it made me feel unappreciated. This is very different from when you would say, I cannot believe last night we had Valentine's dinner and all you were doing, you were just looking at your phone. Those are very different, two different things, right? Instead of saying that, you can say, it made me feel invisible. And that reminds me when, I was growing up and my parents didn't appreciate me either, and that kind of just triggered things. When you come from vulnerability, when you come with the statement, you explain yourself and not necessarily jumping on them and saying, you did this, you made me feel this way. So they will not put up defense right away and they will maybe more listening in what you have to say. And that conversation can continue without escalating in something bigger. I can talk about that for hours, by the way. And then the third one, especially if this is the dynamic for you. Let's say you have a communication with someone, but there is no communication because they don't even talk to you. And then it's just kind of you afraid to even bring things up, or maybe they explode with things. So like because maybe you don't approach the way they can handle the approaching. So you learn over years or over months that, it doesn't really work. So you kind of stuffing in, stuffing. And then the time when you are tired, when you're hungry, when you've been triggered all day long by other people, you just explode on that person. As you know, it doesn't work. So I recommend, and it's really up to you to do it or not, is to schedule regular check-ins. Just say, so how are we doing? How was our week? And talk about your feelings, about the issues that you have, and agree on that, both of you. Agreeing of, we're gonna talk 5 minutes. You can put an alarm on and say, okay, I'll say three things, and you can say three things. So you feel heard, and they feel heard. You have empathy for them, they will learn empathy for you. And of course, there are some people they will not learn empathy because they just cannot really do that. So then we go into the first place of thinking they're not capable of that. So then you need to find ways how it's possible for them to communicate with you. And that's probably couples therapy if you're in a couple, or talk with the therapist, or hire a coach and see what works for you. But the most important part here, which you need to understand, when it comes to relationships, is your number one relationship. So how much are you going to allow the people to take control over your emotions? Now that's very complicated and very sensitive. And if that triggered you, I apologize. I probably will be talking about that in upcoming episodes. So if that's something that interests you, leave me a comment below and tell me that you want more episodes about communication with other people, especially those that's very difficult to communicate. If you're still here, thank you so much. Appreciate you very much. Click a button like and please subscribe. If you know someone who is struggling with relationships and in a position that maybe they don't feel good about themselves, send them my way. There is always a solution for everyone to come to their true self and true love. And maybe it could be daunting, but it takes courage. If somebody really wants to, I'm open. And by the way, this weekend only, I'm running a special for $99 for 30-minute session. It's laughable, I tell you that, because I charge $299. I'm being asked to do this because there's a lot of people that right now going through a lot of stress. We entered a very volatile year, and we had Valentine's Day, especially for those who are lonely or feeling alone. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. This is my gift to you because I love you. Of course, all of this in the description below. Click a link, schedule a consultation, or you even can buy this consultation with me to someone else as a gift. A friend, a sibling, a coworker, those people who maybe not following me, but I can help them. And if there's any other question that you have that I can talk about in next episodes, let me know in the comments below.